Where do I even begin? Hi, welcome from my room. As usual, I was going to film my next videos outside. I cannot currently do that. A lot of things are very different now for everyone. We all have to change our daily lives quite a bit. I myself am stuck in a house for another week because I have been in contact with someone who apparently was in a crisis region and who might be infected. And because of that, I have to and will stay home for the time being to do my best to not spread this in case I am a carrier. So yeah, but I think in general that it's really important to not complain about it too much. You cannot really change it anyways. I know I'm fortunate enough to have a garden, so I can still go outside whilst being in quarantine. However, I know that I guess for a lot of people it's very difficult to suddenly not meet people anymore. I myself am an introvert, so I'm not really that bothered to be all by myself. It's just me and the cat, and I don't care, but I know for a lot of people it's very difficult, so I wanted to present you with some ideas of what you can do in those times. I don't know if in your country it's already been regulated by law that you cannot leave the house, or if it's still advised by the government, or if nothing is going on just yet, but just in case you are already advised to reduce social contact and stay home more, or even if you're quarantined, yes, let me share my experience with you, because I actually quite like being at home. As most of you know, I also really love to go outside, especially the forest in spring is beautiful, but there are also very beautiful things that you can do at home. So let's do this, because one can be safe and have fun at the same time. I don't think we have to live a miserable life for the time that we have to, well, stick to ourselves mostly. And maybe it's a really good time or moment to learn to appreciate your own company a bit more. Because it's something, I guess, that is not really on the radar usually. And yeah, it's a very good opportunity. And I think we should really try to see the positive in that. First of all, the very obvious things. Of course, if you are a student or if you go to university, you can still proceed with your studying. You can just sit down and do all the things you should be doing. You can do a lot of schoolwork because now there's nothing that's going to distract you from it. And in my experience, the periods of time where you have no distractions, time passes so fast when you work in depth, and a lot of us already have very short attention spans from just being on the phone all the time or other things. And I believe it's a very good chance to just really reprogram yourself and learn to deep focus again. So that's a good one. It doesn't really help that at the moment I'm being called by my family members about every day, asking me if I'm still alive, if I have any symptoms, if I need anything. So yeah, but other than that, I'm yeah, deep focus is a good thing. Then I know that of course it's also obvious, like house chores and projects in the house. Maybe there is something that you've been postponing forever that you never had the time for, but now is the time. We're talking stuff like cleaning under the drawer where the cat peed. It's not nice work. No one wants to do it. But now is the time to do it, because now there is the time. In general, this can be anything. It doesn't really have to be physical work. It can also be picking up a new skill that you've always wanted. I get so many comments where the basic essence is basically, oh, I wish I could do this, or oh, I wish I had this skill. And then it's also followed with a reason why it's not possible. Most of the time, people say, because I have no time. I always say that not having time is not really a thing. There's only such a thing as not making time for something, and that's completely okay. If it's not that important to you, then you won't make time for it, fine. But now you are forced to have the time, so maybe it is a good idea to pick up on a skill that you've always wanted to learn and you never really felt like you had the time for. Now you do. Let's just pick the time span of a regular quarantine, which is like 14 days. It takes about 14 days to form a new habit. And I think within 14 days, if you really dedicate that time, you can learn a new language, basically. So do something fun or learn painting or anything like that. You don't even have to physically go somewhere to learn those things, because the internet is such a good resource. YouTube is the best teacher, and I learned so many things from YouTube, including the majority of the sword fighting skills that I have. It did help that I did fencing and martial arts, but the majority of when it comes to using the longsword, I learned from YouTube. So go for it. You don't even need a garden for that. You can practice in your room and be careful not to destroy things. But learning instruments, doesn't matter what it is. Painting, I also learned so much about art on YouTube by watching other artists draw and watch them how they do that. So use this time wisely and do something nice. Use this time to kind of reset your own life a little bit, to how to say that, look into yourself and the things that you are not so content with, habits that you don't really like about yourself. It's a good time to get rid of that and really focus on getting rid of it. For example, letting closet doors open. I don't know why I do that. I don't know why I do that. But after the time is over, I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm really trying. It's also a good time to adapt new habits and kind of make yourself a little better plan how you will implement something new into your routine. Sporting more or doing the dishes straight away. No matter what it is, you can form a new habit. And on top of that, to make it even easier for yourself, deep clean everything. I know it doesn't sound exciting, but it is something that also helps with the focus thing. I do find that it is something that is easier to fall into than, for example, studying. So it's a good practice for your brain to really focus on just one thing and do a task for a prolonged time and really concentrate on it. And you can make it step by step. First you do the hoovering, and then you wash the floors, mop the floors, yes, mop the floors. Go into every little nook and cranny that you find, declutter things, and maybe use it, as I said, to reset your life. Because I can tell you that when you feel like your entire house and home is clean and tidy, there is no useless crap and junk lying around, this random ass drawer where you have all your crap is emptied out and organized, it is going to be such a good feeling, and it will definitely help you to kickstart a new lifestyle once you get to go out again and live outside again. And it also really helps with the whole adapting new habits, because if your surroundings are cozy and comfortable and make you feel good and productive and tidy and organized and whatnot, it's so much easier to maintain that. So the whole cleaning that you now have time for is a really good kickstart for yourself to self-improve. So yes, pro tip. I know nobody wants to do it, but it's so rewarding if you do it. I can't do it because it's already clean and tidy. I did the floors today, but yeah, no decluttering. So yeah, but I think I will switch the winter wardrobe with spring summer wardrobe somewhere these days, to have something other than studying, something where I can get moving, because I do think that it's really important, even if you have to stay inside, to not stop moving and not just sit around all day, because it is important to keep your immune system good and running and active. And if you sit around all day, it's not good signals for your body, not just immune system wise, but also motivation wise and everything. I think it's very easy to get bored or depressed or just not make use of the time if you sit around all day. I don't know. I'm just someone who has to move a lot, and now that I can't really go outside, it's very tempting sometimes to just sit on the couch and play Skyrim all day, because that's also something that you can do if you feel like it. It's very tempting to just sit around all day. It doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't make you feel active or awake. And this is a bit random, but I do think that if you feel not awake and not as fit and not as active, it's also very easy to overreact a little bit and get paranoid about, oh, is this already sickness? Am I infected? That kind of stuff. So I definitely do think that it's a smart choice, both for your mental calmness, but also for your physical health, to just move and get your blood flowing and do something. It doesn't have to be a home workout. I have to skip gym for the time being. I personally don't at all like home workouts at all. I cannot stand them. I have a history with years and years and years of rehabilitation exercises every day at home, and it's been branded in my brain. I don't like it. It doesn't make me feel good, so I won't be sporting for the time being, but I'm doing my best to move a lot. I have one of those wrist fitness thingies that you cannot see because it's invisible. No, I'm not wearing it at the moment. But anyways, that counts my steps and gives me a little reminder every couple of minutes to just get up and do something, so that I don't play Skyrim all day. And yeah, my kind of movement is basically, I've compiled a list of things I want to do in the house. The summer clothes thing that I told you is one, and the other one was cleaning under the wardrobe. And I make it a goal to do one of these things, because it's not that many, one of those things every day. They all take about the same amount of time to do, and once this is done and once the studying is done, I can do the Skyrim as a reward. So I have some things where I move, some things where I actually use my brain, and then I have my downtime where I empty out dungeons and eat dragon souls. Then of course there are obvious things like watching movies, playing video games. I already said that. I personally love Skyrim because it keeps you distracted forever. There are so many quests in this freaking game. And I just started anew because I just got the new console, and now I have to play everything anew, and I'm so close to obtaining the Dawnbreaker. I'm excited, can you tell? Then, of course, cooking and food. No one says that you have to live from potatoes and rice only just because you cannot go outside. There is no reason to make yourself feel even more miserable by eating food that makes you feel like you're in one of those epidemic biohazard movies. You can dine like a queen or a king, and I highly advise doing that. And maybe thinking back to your childhood, your comfort foods from back then, and try to recreate them, or just like those kinds of things. Or even go to YouTube, find funny recipes you want to try, or play food bingo, which is something that I do quite often. Putting random ingredients together and then just experimenting because it's fun, and usually it tastes nice. And if it doesn't taste nice, then at least it's nutritious and you've learned something. I personally, and I know this is not quite for everybody, but I personally also really like to write. Not at the moment, because as I said in my last video, I haven't felt that inspired lately to do creative things so much. This is why I'm playing Skyrim and not painting or writing, because I don't feel so creative at the moment. But if I would be, I also really like to write. It doesn't matter if it's poetry or if it's stories that I make up in my head. I have ideas that could fill books, and it's fun to just write a creative story or write a book. It's, I think, a really good time to plan things and organize things in your mind and put it to paper. But I know it's not for everybody. This is, I guess, for people who enjoy this kind of stuff. Writing fan fiction or your own story can be so much fun. Reading, obviously. I think reading is one of those things that are oftentimes not done because other things are so much more exciting and there is no time because it's not a priority. But it is very relaxing to read a book. And if you have problems with your attention span, then try doing an audiobook instead and kind of work on that attention span. Listen to an audiobook while you clean and then gradually reduce your activities as you listen to the audiobook. Or if it's just about the audiobook, then listen to it as you clean. It makes everything more fun. Or read the book, whatever you prefer. It's so nice to dive into other worlds, and that really shortens time because once the book captures you and draws you in, you don't want to stop. I think if I wouldn't be playing Skyrim, I would be reading all the Harry Potter books right now. And you can sit yourself somewhere close to the window where you have sunlight and maybe even put on nature sounds if you live in a city. That's so nice. I really liked doing that when I stayed in a bigger city, to put on my headphones and put some nature sounds like ocean sounds or rain sounds or forest sounds and just listen to them. I also really recommend this website. I have to check it out what it was called. It has like ambience mixtures that you can listen to on an endless loop for free. This is for in case your regular home ambient sounds get boring for you. They have a Hogwarts library one for in case you're someone who prefers studying at the library because you do like the background noises. It has like the ambience noise of a busy cafe. And you can take those places to your home with the noises. So, why not do that? I think also that the whole ambient around us plays a big role. If you don't feel comfortable or cozy at home, then maybe it's time to give your home a bit of an overhaul. It doesn't have to be something drastic, but it can be something as little as trying to rearrange your furniture a little bit, or finding out or decorating in a different way. First of all, cleaning everything properly, see if that helps. If it doesn't help, change your surroundings, make something nice, make your home your little cozy cave, and make yourself feel at home. Create an environment that you want to spend time in. That makes it so much easier, let me tell you. And also, by the way, it makes it a lot more easy to keep it tidy, because if you love your surroundings, you want to keep it beautiful and you want to keep it nice. So this is definitely a good thing that I recommend, to make your home reflect who you are and what you want and what you need, and you will not want to leave the house. And then something that surprisingly I haven't heard a lot of people recommend, but calling your family members. I personally am not really someone who likes being on the phone, but I do think it's a very good time to spend time with your loved ones without actually physically spending time together, because we don't want to spread things. So it's really nice to just call your dad or your mom or call your grandparents and check on them and see if they need something, or just talk, just spending time with them, because even if you're doing good, maybe somebody else in your family feels lonely and suffers more from this isolation thing. At the moment, I cannot physically go and visit my grandmother who lives in a house next to me, or in general, I shouldn't be visiting my grandmother because I'm the risk group of contracting and she is the risk group of severe breakout. But we're trying to phone a lot more and spend time in this way, because I think that loneliness is something that's going to be very difficult for a lot of people who already might feel a bit lonely, and now they will feel even more isolated because suddenly all the social contacts are gone, and especially elderly people, where a lot of their social circles consists of very few people because the rest is already dead. So yeah, I think it's really nice to just check up on them and spend time with them over the phone or over Skype if you have technologically skilled grandparents. But well, yes, being in touch with your family and your friends, and I can tell you it's very nice in this day and age where we're so used to just WhatsApping each other. It's just really nice to maybe record a voice message with your friend or call them and hang out like that, or send cat photos and cat videos. You know I'm talking about you. Kiss your kitties on my behalf. Not that this is something we don't do without the virus, but now even more, because now we're crazy cat people being at home with our children. And then, of course, another thing that I always love doing, but that is even more nice now, because now I have all the time in the world, pamper day. It's so nice to run a good bathtub and make a spa day at home with stuff that you already have at home. I don't really use many store-bought products. I use leftover coffee from the coffee machine as a peeling. I just mix it with either oil or you can also mix it with your facial cleanser. If you're someone who uses soap on your face, it is so good and it feels so nice, and you can use it on all your body. Just mix the ground coffee with shower gel or oil and massage it in. It feels so good and your skin is gonna feel so good. And yeah, on the same note, if you have extremely frizzy and dry hair, this is a really good time to just clutter it in oil and just leave it in as long as you possibly can, because you won't gonna see anybody. So all the things you always wanted, but was always afraid of how your social construct is going to react to that. Like trying to start with a no shampoo method. If you want to go for that, it's a good time. No one's gonna see it. Yeah. But I believe that the most important thing is to listen to yourself, and if you don't feel comfortable with yourself in your own company, really find out why. Find out what it is that makes you crave that social interaction. Find out what it is that makes you prefer the company of other people over your own. If it is because you're trying to distract yourself from something that's within you, from noise or something that's going on, something that's bothering you that you don't want to think about, or if it's because you want a specific kind of validation from other people. If you define your self-worth by the praise that you receive, I know those are things that can be a thing, and it's very good to question that and to work on that and see that you can feel more comfortable and more at ease in your own self, in your own body, because you're the only person who will for sure stick with you for the rest of your life. So it's good to be in a good relationship, and maybe this is a good time to work on your own issues. But I would also say that if you are completely on your own and you don't have anyone living with you and you have bad issues, then this is not a good time, because then it's a good time to detect those things and become aware that there is something, but maybe it's not a good time to work on it now. But it's a good start to become aware and to accept that there's a reason why maybe you're craving social attention so much. And then when everything is over and you return to your normal life, then you can start to work on that. So stay safe, everyone. I hope that you found something that you want to do or something that you can work with. If you have own ideas, because I'm pretty sure I left out half the things that I do in my introvert life, leave them in the comments so that other people can browse and get more inspiration. I think it's really important to abide to the restrictions that were given in order to get hold of the situation as soon as possible, because the sooner this is under control, the sooner we can all return to our everyday lives. Right now, the situation in my country is quite interesting. Our supermarkets look like this or this. Some people are seriously overreacting and buying all the toilet paper there is. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, because for most people, one roll of toilet paper lasts for quite a while. But yeah, I don't know what exactly their plan is, that they need so much toilet paper. But yeah, it's important to not let this hysteria freak you out. It's something that was kind of to be expected. This is not necessary. I think it's important to stay calm and not freak out over things that we don't really have to freak out about. At the same time, other people are selfish in other ways by saying things like, "Oh, I'm not in a risk group. I won't get the virus, and if I get it, it will only be mild, so I don't care. I don't have to wash my hands all the time. I don't need to shun company because I'm not at risk." And the thing is that it's really important to realize that if the people who are not in the risk group are very fortunate that they're not, that their chances of being lethally affected by the virus are lower, but other people are not, and you can contract the virus without having any symptoms on yourself. And if you are irresponsible with how you interact with society, you might pass on the virus to someone who does not have the capacity to withstand, or maybe even to someone who's very vulnerable. And it's very important to keep these vulnerable parts of the society under our care as well, because this is our responsibility as people. And in case of doubt, it's always better to be safe than sorry. And don't worry so much about other people's judgment for you being overly concerned and overly safe. There is not really a thing such as being too overly safe. We don't want a situation as it was in China. We don't want a situation as it is in Italy, in our neighbor country. And I guess other countries don't want the situation as it is in Austria either. So yeah, it's good to, it's really better to just avoid people, and especially if you feel sick-ish, to avoid them even further and not shake hands, don't sneeze at people, don't sneeze into your hand. Like, in general, this is such a pet peeve. I don't know why it's still taught to children like that, but you don't sneeze into your hand. It's super unsanitary and super gross because you shake hands. Like, why would you sneeze? Why would anybody sneeze into their hands? It's something that I don't really understand to begin with, why this is a thing. You Everybody should just sneeze into their elbows, no matter if there's a virus or not. Yeah, just be safe. Don't overreact, and make your indoor life as exciting as humanly possible.